Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together.
Hey, wily ambitious leaders. Welcome to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast. I am so excited to dive into 3 principles of wealth to get money now. Now, I have to share that why I'm so excited about this topic is because Carol really helped me have a major perspective shift in terms of finances, money, income, and, what it means, like what is wealth, what is money, the relationship we have with money, all the stories that we have that we grew up with. And she really supported me in having a perspective shift into getting excited about even purchasing, our very first home. This is something I was not excited about. I was always dreaming my retirement home in Nice, but actually buying a home was never something that really excited me until, Carol and I became really good friends, and she started to open up my mind, my perspective to look at my relationship with money differently. And today, this is exactly why we're going to dive into 3 principles that will really help you get more money now and help you shift that relationship and this perspective that you may have with time. So, Carol, what is this first principle of wealth that I know that I hear you speak into all the time?
Thanks, Alex. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And I love sharing with people about principles of wealth because I ended up being an international business owner, an entrepreneur. It was handed to me on a silver platter because when my husband was, when he passed and I was widowed, I got to step into his shoes, and we had just purchased a new business, as you know, overseas, and I had never been in this industry before. It's a boutique hotel. It's hospitality industry. It was high season, and I had a full staff. It has had an excellent reputation, still does 8 years later. And so I want to help you too with the time and money stories, and Alex and I do. And we're specialists in this. So we're here to share and get you going on having the best time and money that you can have in your life to live that full and abundant life that you absolutely deserve. And so the first principle that I love to talk about is a paradigm shift. It's put your money to work for you. And I don't know about you, but the way I grew up was I have to go to work for money. I'm always looking for ways to bring in money, which makes me go to work for money. And this was a principle that I received through Rich Dad, Poor Dad, through Robert Kiyosaki. So he gets the credit here. It was such a paradigm changer for me to go, wait a minute, this really speaks into what money actually is. And we go deep into the definitions of money, the difference between money and wealth in the program. But money is a tool. It's a measurement of value. And when you start to think of it in terms of putting money to work for you, you're really thinking about the tool that it is and how to utilize it. You're also moving into thinking at a higher level about becoming wealthy, because the wealthy put money to work for them. So you can take the income that you have from your job, working for money, trading time for $1, and you can start to take a portion of that and put it to work for you. And you'll need a financial advisor perhaps, or you'll need to be educated in that. And that's a wonderful thing because that's all about learning and growing and starting to think about money at a much higher level. Any thoughts you want to speak into that,
Well,
Alex Leanne?
I was thinking right now that we might have some listeners that are noticing knowing some resistance to what you're saying, Carol,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
depending on how you grew up, what you heard around the wealthy, what the relationship was with money and time and work and effort. You need to work really hard for your money,
Yeah.
really, really looking at, yeah, what did you hear? What are the stories that you've heard? What are your beliefs around money?
Mm.
And leaning into that, making note of that. I mean, this is really, truly why we love the work that we do, because we help the ambitious men and women that we work with be able to look at what those stories are. See, if you look at your relationship with time, most likely it's a similar relationship you have with money. So it's about getting intimate with your time, intimate with your money, and really ask yourself, like, are you consistently trading your time for money? And just ask yourself, what does that look like to have my money work for me? How can I look at it differently? Does it start off by saving $1 a day? Does it
Yeah.
start off with, instead of going to the Starbucks to buy the Starbucks drink, I'm going to make coffee from home? Now, those seem like simple things, but your brain is wired to keep you where you are. Your brain is wired with the beliefs that you have around money that you grew up with, or that you witnessed, or that you heard. And so, though it's very simple, and this is what our we like to help our clients with, is looking at this from a simple angle, your brain is going to want to overcomplicate it, especially as a high achiever. That's the resistance that you're probably feeling right now. And maybe saying to yourself, well, how do you do that? And that's a great question to ask yourself. Follow and be open, and
Yeah.
just activate the reticular activating system to wonder how to
Yeah.
do that, versus looking at it, well, like, I can't do that, or that's not for me. So just stay open and curious. And I think this kind of lends into the next principle. When we look at the relationship between time and money, and when you look at trading time for money, looking at the Pareto principle, I mean, I speak into that a lot with the productivity, but it's also there's alignment with that in terms of money. So Carol, can you
Yeah.
tell us a bit, what does the Pareto principle, this 80-20 rule, look like in terms of our money and how our money works and can work for us?
Well, the Pareto principle, it's a scientist named Pareto who uncovered this principle, and it's more commonly known as the 80-20 rule. And it's actually very broad. It's amazing. And I want to give a couple of credits. I love shouting out to people. One of the things Alex Leanne was just speaking into before I go into the 80-20 rule, was, maybe instead of going to Starbucks, making your coffee at home. You do want to be aware of not living in scarcity, of being able to live in abundance. And there's another principle that we teach called the Rule of 40. This came from Grant Cardone, and I'm happy to share that with you, but we don't have the time here. But speaking into that, we have several principles and the neuroscience to help you be able to wire in your money success stories, your wealth success stories, because you cannot outperform your subconscious. And so I love the resistance that you were speaking into, because it does come up and the brain constantly goes to how, and so we love speaking into intention. And so let's get back to your time and money. And these do correlate so strongly. So you can apply 80-20 to productivity just like you're applying it to your wealth. And in fact, Alex, if you don't mind, I'm going to speak into the productivity piece of 80-20, that the rule states, let's make 20% produce 80%, or 80% produce 20%. And it's a ratio, so it can be 40-60, 30-70, 90-10. What we're speaking into in terms of productivity is that let's make 20% of our activities be so focused and intentional that they're producing 80% of our results. And I feel like a lot of name dropping today, but one of our mentors also says that he wants 5% of his activities to produce 95% of his growth and his results. Actually, his results. And results can include growth. When you're looking at a very large multi-million dollar, billion dollar, trillion dollar company, they're using the 80-20 rule over and over and over again. And it actually leads to a power curve, a parabola. And do we have the link to put that in the show notes, Alex, Leanne?
We do, yeah.
So there's a book by Perry Marshall about 80-20 marketing, and he has a website where you can go and you can enter your numbers on anything, on marketing, on your use of time, your use of money, and you can see where you are and what it's going to take to get you to the parabola, the power curve. So going along, and shooting up, right? And I'll give you an example. If you typically, the majority of people that go to Starbucks are going to be buying the coffees, right? The tall, the, what is it? The grande, the grand, I've forgotten the names.
The tall, grande,
venti.
and
venti. That's it. And then they're going to have another level of customers who are buying coffee and food, or some of their other products like coffee mugs or, coffee warmers and grinders. Then power curve wise, they're going to have a very small percent buy that $500 espresso machine. So they have all of those, and it creates a power curve. Don't worry about all that right now. The best way to start small, start simple, put 80-20 principle to work is look at being intentional with your time and with your dollars. So, or your currency if you're another part of the world. So you get to look at how can I make 20% of what I have, 20% of my efforts, 20% of my time, 20% of my money, and letting it produce 80% of your results. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Alex?
Well, I'm kind of thinking that I'm just thinking, well, where do I start with this? And it actually starts with simple tracking. When you're looking at tracking your time, it's something really important I lean in with our clients is getting them to become aware of where all their time is going. And a lot of times we feel like, well, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. It feels like that. That's an automation. That's a belief that you've heard and you've said over and over and over again, and that's how you're operating. And so that's the reality, right? You feel like you don't have enough time. You feel like you don't have enough money. But when you're able to get intimate with those numbers and your time, know exactly where your time is going and know exactly where your money is going, you start to be able to make some more better educated decisions. Get to start asking yourself, and looking at your portfolio of time and of money and really get clear on where it's going. A lot of my clients have done this exercise, start to realize that they're scrolling on their phone for several hours a day or several hours over a period, a week. Sometimes they start tracking their time and realize that they're taking an hour to get ready for work every day. And they realize, actually, I only need about 45 minutes. Others realize they're spending a lot of time watching Netflix and don't realize how much time they're spending watching Netflix. So it's really getting clear on even how much time you're spending cooking meals, meal preparation, doing laundry, doing all the tasks. And this is what we have our clients look at this and be able to, batch certain items together, look at it differently, look at the way you can stack certain activities so that you can really maximize your time. And take a look at, are you spending time on things like fixing fonts on a social media post and it's taking you hours and hours to put together one post? And really, ask yourself, are you first of all the best person to be doing that? Or are there ways that you can really get more efficient and effective with your time? And so just having that that information and that data with your numbers, with your time, helps you, well, it empowers you really to then make the decisions to allocate time and money to certain activities. And
Yeah.
so, I know I'm sure many listeners have budgets and things like that. I really like to look at it in terms of a wealth plan, right? If you're looking at creating more money, more income, well, create a plan around that. And guess what? This is part of the process to create that. Because I hear you. I mean, trust me, the first time I was asked to, track my numbers, there's a lot of resistance I have around there. It's your
Well,
brain.
Alex, that ties in perfectly to our third point. That is awesome because the third point is Pearson's Law, which is all about the tracking, right? And you also tied in directly to another principle of wealth that we won't have time to speak into today. This is why you're going to want to work with us. You want to jump in and talk to us. It is the principle of debt stacking. And so I'd love to share that with you because you started stacking time. You can stack debt as well to help you get out of debt. But the third principle is Pearson's Law. And is that what you were just about to tell me? I can see it on your face, Alex Leanne.
Well, I was just kind of going into, again, it's our brain, right? Like our
Yeah.
brains and any thoughts, any resistance, or anything that you guys are feeling while you're listening to these principles, is just take note of that and know that your brain is being resistant to what you're hearing because we're challenging the way that you've been operating up until
The
now.
status quo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's to be open and curious and just take us on, right? Be curious to see. I always talk about like being an entrepreneur is like being a scientist. It's like doing a science experiments just to collect data. And I guess that's kind of what that invitation is just instead of looking at it like, oh, collecting data or all of this, it's getting connected with your bigger vision, your bigger why of, why are you looking to create money now? Like, what's the driver and importance behind that? And then realize that some of these principles and some of these action steps will allow you to actually move forward once implemented and you have more clarity around why that's so important to you.
I love that. Thank you. We love pouring into you in these things. And the way the brain works does come up with resistance and limitations and that complication bias, right? We were talking about that just yesterday. And all of these things that our brains do in order to keep us safe rather than make us successful. And I think we should speak just briefly about the fact that we are in a recession right now. And a lot of people get fearful and panicked over that. I want you guys to lean in. Alex and I want you to lean in. Now is the time of opportunity. Now is the time to be increasing your time and your money so that you can take advantage of the opportunities that are available. Many, many large companies have started in a recession, and necessity is the mother of invention, right? So I think that's super powerful and important. A big part of what we train brains, we give you the tools to train your brain to do, is to rewire those stories of fear and of limitation. And it doesn't mean that fear necessarily goes away. Fear is sometimes there with us, even with the rewire, but it's over here sitting in the driver's seat instead of driving the car like it used to. We don't want it to drive the car anymore. And so that third point, to get to that third point, is Pearson's Law. Pearson's Law states what you measure grows, and what you measure and report grows exponentially. Exponentially means that power curve, huge, right? Shooting to the moon. And that's exciting for most of us. It was exciting for me because when I thought about budgeting, I was just like, meh, it was not a word I loved. And Pearson's Law put it in a way where there's a reward. there's a measurable result for tracking your time and your money. And I know we're going to speak into the action step that you can take today here in a minute. But remember, Pearson's Law states what you measure grows, what you measure and report grows exponentially. This came out of statistics, the field of statistics. And the cool thing about it is that, you know, we report with our businesses doing bookkeeping. We have accountability. We report to maybe to a partner like Alex and I. We report to our tax authorities and our governments. So just remember that you can take the action steps with your time and money, and we give you the specific tools to do that. And you're going to get one today. In order that you can start making your income, specifically your money, grow today. It can start today. It's a universal law. It's a principle. So when you put it into motion, it just works. And we want the feedback. We want the feedback once you put this to work on what's happening, the results that are changing, activating that RAS and starting to see and look for those opportunities, right? Do you want to share the action step with us now, Alex?
Well, I just want to say that again, you might be feeling some resistance around this because, think I speak into because I know the resistance I have felt. So when we invite you to track your numbers or pick something to track over the next 7 days, go into it with curiosity, celebrate. And our next podcast, we're going to be speaking into celebration. So if you're like, what do you mean celebrate? Take a listen to our podcast next week.
Yeah.
But celebrate and really acknowledge that, today gets to be day one of where you get to change everything around your money, around your time, around results that you're creating. And if you are feeling resistance, that's okay. That's very normal. If you have never really tracked your numbers or tracked your time or you're not aware of that, that's okay. I want to say that probably 95 to 99% of our clients are the same. And I've been there too. And I don't know, Carol, if you've been there as well, like when I've been asked to do that.
Yeah.
When you're clear on, again, what is that you want and knowing that this is part of the process, then you go in, you're like, commit to 7 days, 15 minutes a day, set a timer up on your phone that says track my numbers and just.
How much time was that, Alex?
15 minutes, 15.
Yes. Okay, good. It sounded like 50. I wanted to make sure we all understand.
Yeah. 15, 15. So just dedicating 15 minutes a day.
And while the resistance comes up, you getting to recognize it, lean into it with curiosity, without judgment of yourself is so powerful. So powerful. And the majority of us, when we face difficult things and money stories, especially that we inherited from our childhoods, that's where we tend to want to bury our heads in the sand. And again, just leaning into Pearson's Law, it states the reward. The reward is there in taking the action step. And our brains are also wired for reward, which, as Alex said, we're going to be speaking into in the next episode. We're so excited for you to know about all the reasons that you get to reward yourself and how powerful it is for you. And I'm excited to have you come in and work with Alex and I and really be able to get solid, rapid results around wiring in your success and having those principles of time and money that are in alignment with who you are and your values and the things that you want in life. And you'll be able to walk through the why with us. And then the how will come. Super exciting.
and just as we finish up here today, I really want to lean into the action item that we're inviting you to do. See, I've had an opportunity to interview multiple millionaires and multimillionaires. And you want my biggest takeaway from all these interviews was about making data-driven decisions, right?
Yeah.
Knowing your numbers when it comes to time, when it comes to money. And that's what across the board, that this is what they leaned in and shared into when looking at their productivity and wealth secret. That's what they shared. The moment they got intimate with their numbers, the moment they knew where their time was going, where their money was going, things started to really shift. And it wasn't just, again, knowing it, like Carol was saying, it was actually, looking at Pearson's Law, it was tracking them, reporting them. Whether it's a simple spreadsheet or it's on your calendar or it's in a notebook, right? Keep it simple and just lean in and really embark on this journey to see where it can take you in, the next 7 days.
I want to recap our principles. So we're going to put money to work for you, right? Put your money to work for you rather than thinking of it in terms of going to work for money. I want you to shift that paradigm. 80-20 rule. We want 20% of your actions and efforts to produce 80% of your results with time and money. And Pearson's Law. What you measure grows, what you measure and report grows exponentially. So we're wanting you guys to have a fabulous day, a fabulous week, and spend 15 minutes a day in the action step for 7 days and report back to us. Email us, DM us, jump into our Facebook group, the Productivity and Wealth Secrets of High Performing Leaders, and subscribe here. You'll hear more about that in a minute, but we really want to hear your results from taking this action for 7 days in a row, 15 minutes a day.
So we've got a brand new Instagram account that I will share with you guys right now. I'm just checking it to make sure I've got the right handles here, but we want you guys to connect with us on socials. So at unleashed.unstoppable.you. That's how you can connect with both Carol and I, and join us inside of Productivity and Wealth Secrets of High Performing Leaders. We can't wait for you to tune into another episode next week. Thank you for joining us today and have a fantabulous day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.